Hi, Olivia.
Hi.
Oh, we're live. Hi, I'm Jessica.
I'm Olivia.
How you doing today?
No, I'm doing great. How are you?
Good. She got the giggles right before we went live, so get it out. Go for it.
No, now that you said that, now I don't have to laugh anymore.
Excellent. Okay, hi. Welcome to today's podcast. This is Perception and Perspective. We're on episode 7. So when people are asking me how to describe this podcast, I'm like, well, we just kind of talk about perceptions. Like, what the heck does that? Do you have a good description for everybody?
Of what perception means?
When people are saying, oh, I already lost our one view. Perception and perspective. Our podcast is, we do, see, I struggle to say like conservative stuff, whatever. We're conservative witches. I don't like to identify as that.
Yeah, I don't identify as really, well, okay, now I sound like the blueberries.
I identify as a free, independent woman, and we're finna talk about like the God. Okay, sorry, that's how I speak. Go on.
No, I didn't have anything to say. I was just laughing at you.
I am pretty funny. Wait a minute. Instead of saying feminism, let's come up with our own word like blah, blah, blah. Let's come up with our own word of like goddessism, feminism. How does this work?
They're like feminazis. That's what people call them.
Either way, we tear apart different social structures, including things like feminism, and come up with words like blueberries to represent people that disagree with us, I guess. What's a blueberry, Olivia, in your terms?
No, because I'll get canceled. I can't.
You just said it last. You came up with this last podcast.
Oh, I did?
Yeah. People with the blue hair disagree with this, but either way, we are. Would you say you're pagan? I'd say I'm pagan. I'm a pagan stoic teacher, runs a crystal shop, and this is my student.
I'm still figuring out what clicks with me the most, I feel like. Or honestly, actually, no, I take that back. I feel like mine isn't like
you don't have to
a certain religion. I'm
right.
I'm sorry.
We're talking. The main topic today will be femininity. So
I'm just going through. I don't know. I feel like my religion is honestly just being alive.
Cool.
I'm alive and I'm here to experience. I feel like that's all I really believe in. That's all I go by. Like, I'm here to live life and experience all of the great, beautiful things that come with it.
Well, it wasn't necessarily like saying religion. I wouldn't call it like my religion. I'm just like, that's how I am all the time. Like with everything I bring in.
Like how I
bring in spookiness to all that I do.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Would you say you bring in spookiness?
No. I feel like I bring in like marshmallow energy.
What's a marshmallow energy?
Just like
fluffiness and lovely. I love marshmallows.
Oh, me too.
That is like the best underrated snack, just like a handful of marshmallows.
Dude, no, I really want marshmallows.
We'll get you marshmallows, girl.
But like, I don't know. I didn't really mean anything. I just wanted to say, honestly, I like the word marshmallow. I just want to say the word marshmallow. I'm just being honest.
You know what? I'm going to tell a side quest story because it was hilarious. It was like one of the first couple times we were hanging out, and I was wearing like these tan dress pants, and it was like so cute. And it was like winter time, so I had like a white fluffy sweater on, and I was like, oh, I look cute in my outfit and stuff. Mm-hmm. And she came in, and we were just talking normal. And I love how honest you are all the time. You're like, you look so like fluffy. You're like a marshmallow. And I was like, thank you. I love marshmallows. And now every time I pull that sweater out to wear it, it's like I named it Marshmallow.
Really?
Like sometimes I'll just name my clothes like that.
Love
like
that.
I'll wear Marshmallow today. Yeah. So thanks for naming my sweater.
Oh, I just
side quest.
I just love the word marshmallow. I just want to eat like a marshmallow. Like imagine having a bed that's like made of big marshmallow.
Sounds sticky. Okay, into feminism now.
Sticky.
I gotta see. Talking about ladylike, I'm like, I have the most unladylike laugh on camera several times. I'm like, ha, like nobody wants to see all that. Calm down, Jessica. Psycho of Ashley. Have you seen?
Did someone make like an edit of you?
Oh my God. Will someone please make an edit of me? Oh, I'd be so flattered. No, I was gonna say that I on my website, which is my LinkedIn, like my link tree, it's like Linktree/Psychic of Ashland
Yeah.
City. But then when you look at it, it's like Psycho of a what? Psycho of Atlas.
Psycho of Ashland.
And
I
like
love
people
that.
brought it to me, I'm like, roll with
Well,
it.
okay.
Psycho, psychic,
Feminism.
whatever. Either way, I will tie all this in together. I'm wait till you're done. I don't want you to spill.
Yeah, thank
So-
you. Because
okay.
because the more you
'Cause-
talk, the more I just feel like,
Oh, I'm so glad. Good, I'm entertaining you.
Okay.
No, I'm going to tie this back into what we're doing. Even if we are not behaving ladylike or whichever,
Yeah.
we can still express femininity even with a monster burp like that.
Right. Like femininity is not about like wearing dresses, like wearing the color pink, being like I feel like so
A certain
many
career.
I feel
or-
like so
yeah.
many women struggle with people telling them to like, be quiet or don't be too passionate, don't be too much, like
Mhm.
never be too much, but also don't be too boring. And then it's like,
What am I? We're confused.
mm-hmm.
Well, no. I was just saying like that people get confused and they're like, what do I do?
Yeah.
Continue on. I mean to
I honestly
derail
like,
you.
completely forgot what I was talking about.
You were saying that not people are told or women are don't be boring, but don't be too extra.
Right.
Do this, but wear this. You can't wear
Yeah,
this
it's like
color,
certain
do
things
that.
make you
And it's like,
feminine
what?
and certain things don't. And I feel like they always see women being feminine when they're just being calm and quiet and collected. But it's like femininity is so powerful. Like just like I don't know, like I was thinking about that the other day. How whenever we're just like in our feminine power, like we're very powerful, we're very passionate, we feel very intense emotions that should be expressed. It's like I don't think
Love it.
femininity is always just being like perfectly like calm and flowy and gentle. Like I feel like femininity is being flowy and gentle and loving, but also being powerful and like, you know what I mean?
It's something you express
You
like
have
within
a
yourself,
voice
not
and you
something like a
speak.
specific action or clothing.
Yeah,
Things
right.
like that.
And it's really funny because I feel like we've created the wrong things to identify femininity with, and then we shame the things on women that are actually what makes us
Oh
feminine.
my gosh, that is well said.
Thank you. I just feel like it's true.
Please elaborate more on things that like when you say you're tied to femininity.
Okay, so obviously I feel like this is the most basic one, but when people shame you, like not necessarily shame you, because I don't think in our generation right now anyone's gonna go up to someone and be like, "You have a period. That's disgusting."
we
Like,
need
just
more
stop.
shame in this society, though, for real.
But just yeah.
Humble some people. Go on.
But just like when, there's always been like a really big idea around how, people find periods disgusting or like I remember, okay, so my cousin, for example.
Oh my gosh. Try to suppress that a little bit.
Sorry. It like burns my nose if I do. So I have to just like so
Don't. That's not feminine, but go on.
okay.
I'm just for the record, I want to state that.
So my cousin has her own bathroom that no one else uses but her.
Nice.
And she had a tampon, and whenever, like she was going to throw it away, like she got toilet paper, wrapped it up, whatever. Her dad comes in to just check if the bathroom's clean, and he sees a tiny dot of blood, and he's like freaking out. And then he's like, why? Like, this is gross. Like, you need to learn that you need to be more like this and that. It's like, dude, like it's really not that big of a deal. And I feel like we've just been shamed in so many ways to feel embarrassed or grossed out about our periods, but also
it's like she didn't mean to leave blood on the like.
Yes,
what?
but also so like
it's like it's sometimes that happens.
but also so like disconnected from our periods. Like the society has for sure disconnected us from our periods because it's actually really funny, but there's so many religions and so many times in history where people found so many things very sacred to them.
They respected their bodies.
Yes, like they had a lot of sacred rituals and all this kind of stuff. And it's like nowadays, like we don't really have anything sacred or special throughout the day. Like we just wake up, we know that we're either going to school or going to work, and then you come home to your, your wife and husband or like your kids and all that stuff, and then it's the same every single day. But it's like back then, it's like, for example, people who have to meditate every day. Like I'm one of those people where when I meditate every day, like I feel so much more calm. Like I feel more connected to myself and my goddess energy. And so it's like we've lost we've lost track of like having these sacred practices that we should have throughout our day. You know what I mean?
Are you suggesting like we integrate more sacred practices to our day, or are you saying
Yeah, no,
like,
because that's the thing. It's like people back then, they saw periods as very sacred. They saw it as a very beautiful thing, and they saw it as
so not necessarily has to have a period ceremony, but just recognizing like,
No,
hey,
yeah.
this is a
But also taking the time to do extra special things during your period that you should be doing. Like
Ooh, I
for
to say.
example, when I'm on my period, I don't necessarily feel like, eating. Like, let's say I'm eating healthy, but sometimes I eat bad. On my period, I only feel okay like eating healthy or not even eating at all. Like sometimes I just don't. And I don't know. And then the same thing where back then they believed that when women were on their period, they were supposed to be put on rest. They're not supposed to go to work, school, nothing.
Mhm.
Like you're in solitude with yourself. And also another belief from back then is that they weren't even supposed to be around men for long periods of time because their sacred energy from their periods were so powerful that it would like suck the life force like from men. And obviously, like, I don't know if any of that's true, but I think it's really cool how back then we saw things as sacred, though. And now it's like we don't. We just see periods as such a mundane thing when it's so, it's like how we go outside and we look at trees and we look at grass and we're like, okay, that's tree, that's grass, whatever. But it's like when you get to a certain level of like being so grateful or just that certain level of spirituality, it's like you start to realize like this tree is beautiful, like the grass is beautiful. And I feel
well, you
like
start seeing that interconnectedness of all these things and cycles and things.
you start seeing how a lot of the really small things in life, like the importance of it has been taken away. Like the specialty of every little beautiful thing in our world has been taken away. And now it's more of like we just see things as so normal and mundane, but it's like it's not. Everything is so beautiful and so magical. And so it's like your period is so sacred, and the power that you have as a goddess when you're on your period is so sacred. And we've been made to see it as something that we just have to have. And it's like, oh my God, like I hate that I'm having
like
my period right now.
Embarrassed or feel like you start to
seeing it as an inconvenience. That's a huge thing.
It's kind of like we've been brainwashed, period washed, whatever. Okay, I'm not gonna make jokes while you're drinking. It's just and when I speak this,
I was literally about to like.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
No, all this different propaganda of like, oh, I got this headache when I have my period. I'm feeling like this, and this is this awful thing, and we should hate this, and we should take this birth control to stop it because we need to
it's so
fight it. We need to
inconvenient.
control this thing that's happening.
Right.
And it's like that feels so inserted into society instead of a natural thing.
Yeah,
and like that's why I want to add to like what you're talking about historically. It's like all these different things that came about. It's especially with paganism, it's tied back to moon, the moon cycle. Just as a woman has her cycle, and you're going to that stretch. I'm so, just playing with tape. I was like, I'm like, here.
Okay, I'll put it down. I'm sorry.
It's fine. When the moon is doing its thing, and we see the cyclical thing, and then the ancient cultures would see that, like, oh, women
live by cycles just like the
whole
moon
thing that happens to them,
because that's the thing. Men live on a 24-hour cycle just like the sun, but women live on a 28-day cycle like the moon.
Preach.
So
yes.
There's that.
Oh my gosh, I love it.
But I was gonna say, I feel like there's so many like fixes in life that doctors want to give us for things that are supposed to be happening. Like, oh, you're on your period, you find it inconvenient, take birth control. Like, stop this,
or take
natural
all this
thing.
medication.
Or, oh, you're pregnant, okay, come get an abortion, get rid of the baby. Like, no, you're like, I'm just a strong believer of the natural flow of life.
Right.
Like, that's the only reason why I speak against these things. Like, I never want people to feel attacked or me to be like, my opinion's right and you're wrong. It's really just the fact that I want to live a more natural lifestyle in every single way. And for me, natural is letting my body and letting nature do what it's meant to be.
And like respecting you as a human and all
and
the,
honoring my needs as a human. That's another thing.
I was just thinking, like, just go ahead. Sorry.
I was just gonna say, like, when you're on your period, you should be honoring your needs as a woman, like resting or eating or not eating, or whatever it is. And it's like, it's really hard to find times to do things like that, like really truly take care of ourselves, because we're always at work or we're always at school, and we can't get things like that excused like they could back then. You know what I mean?
am over here like giggling to myself because you keep saying like back then and stuff. And so history being written by men and the patriarchal kind of stuff like that, we are now like sitting here thinking like, oh yes, society and men allowed us to make these rules in order to rest on our period and all this other stuff. But I'm
Mhm.
sitting here thinking like, what if those women in those ancient days were like, you need to leave me alone or bad things will happen, and they played on that, and then they got like the whole week off. I'm saying like,
Oh
what
my
if they
gosh,
came
like,
up with
women
that?
just, like,
What if
made
women
this
came
up?
up with it? Like back there, you're saying like how some like will go to your hut for the week,
Yes,
and
like,
because
I want
you're full of
chocolate.
demons and
Yes,
stuff.
like I'm my period, which means you need to get me chocolate every day this week. I don't have to talk
Or
to
else-
you. I don't have to look at you. We're definitely not having sex. I don't have to do anything. Leave me alone. Oh, also I can be a biatch to you, but it can be excused. Like, what if we just made all of this up and like none of this is even real?
I mean,
We just pranked you. None of this is serious.
we just want to be left
Just
alone.
kidding.
for
No,
a week.
but honestly though, I do believe that, just because like based on my
I'm saying
intuition,
I think women also advocated for it instead of men being like scared supernaturally
yeah.
of that. I'm sure
they also
women,
advocated because they
Oh,
wanted.
yeah.
Oh, I would. I mean, like if someone
because it makes sense because it's like being listened to.
right.
Like back then they were respecting it because the women said respect this.
and that's the thing. Okay, this is so random, but I love the whole
So
concept.
respect my flow.
I love the whole concept of like honoring things. Like I love
Yeah.
when you truly start to appreciate every little, and I mean every little tiny thing in life, and you just honor all of its beauty, but also when you start to appreciate every little thing about yourself, and you're honoring yourself, especially during your moon cycle, which by the way, moon cycle is another term for period.
Mhm.
A lot of people in spirituality will refer to their period as my moon cycle.
And on different points in your cycle, certain, like, I don't use the word spell, but different kind of, I would say spell. Like you should do certain things at certain times.
It's kind
depending
of
on
like
your
during the
period.
full moon, it's better
Yeah.
to manifest, and then during the new moon, it's better to release. But
Exactly.
what was I talking about? I like completely forgot.
You were saying moon
Oh,
cycles.
honoring. And honoring yourself, especially on your moon cycle, is such a beautiful thing.
Yes.
And I feel like honoring and making things sacred is something that we really should bring back to our society, because I feel like we're not truly honoring our human nature and how we operate as humans. Like, it's so weird, but I feel like being in a world full of technology and working constantly, I have forgotten that I'm like a human. Like
we start looking at ourselves like machines that can be
Yes,
controlled.
no, because here's the
this
thing.
does this for this
Like,
hormone,
we
and therefore
wear-
it's like
Well, it's
no,
like
we're biological.
We wear all of these, synthetic clothing, and we're always blocked out from outside. We're always inside. We're always in buildings. We're told to wear shoes, and if you don't wear shoes, you look weird. And it's just like we're literally being stripped from like nature and what's natural and what actually is like made for humans. Like, we're being stripped from that, and we're just being pushed into like this synthetic world. And sometimes it feels so suffocating. Like, this is so random, but I randomly felt like I needed to go on a tangent. Like, sometimes it's just too much. And it's like we start to forget, like, your period is not just a period. You should be honoring it. You should be taking care of yourself. And there's so many good videos on YouTube, like how to take care of yourself and what all the cycles mean and what you should be doing during, like, even down to like different workouts.
Oh my god,
This
I was
is
about
a
to
real
say
thing.
that.
This is a real thing. Like, based on what cycle you're at, like during, like, you have your menstrual cycle, and then after, I think it's like, is it ovulation or is it luteus? Oh, whatever. There's like 4 different cycles, but you get the point.
So
So
political
anyways,
scientist, not a biologist.
I don't know, but basically, like, during your cycles, there's certain exercises that you should be doing that actually will fully give you results. Like, for example, the week after your period, that's when your energy is like rising back up. You're feeling like a badass. Like, that's when you should do like, intense, like, I'm strong. But like, during like when you're actually on your period, it's better to just do cardio and like light workouts and stuff like that. And even the food that you're eating, like, there's so many videos on YouTube talking about living by your cycle, and I love that. Like, I love the idea of living by your cycle, because as a woman, you should be living by your cycle. because we operate with the moon cycle. So therefore we need to do that. And then men need to do it with the sun, like the 24.
So what specifically workouts were they saying while you're on your period? And then I'll tell you what I like to do.
More of like just walking, stretching, just very like gentle things like that. And like I've noticed that during my period, I feel so sensitive. Like physically, you could poke me and I'm like down, like on the floor crying, like rolling around, like throwing up everywhere. I'm kidding. Sorry.
No, I'm just like deep in thought. I was like, because this is newer information, and like she mentioned this to me like a while ago, but this is like the first time we're sitting down. She's fully telling me all the different stuff, and I'm just like, I'm so glad that you as a younger person are seeing a lot of this stuff, and there's people actually like us talking about on the internet. Because as a millennial, when the Depo-Provera shot came out, and it was like everybody wanted to go get on it because it got rid of periods, it got rid of acne. You totally need to be on it. We were told to get on all this birth control because we needed to, is what we're supposed to do. And it's similar to like what's happening now with all the hormones and stuff. We're like just playing God funny? And doing all this kind of stuff. And it's really like we don't even know to the extent it messed up people biologically, but also like you're saying with mentally, what has that done too?
Right.
To all these women too. It's like they're just programmed to think that like they don't have to have a period, and that's totally cool and that's fine. There's nothing to it. Very good.
First thing, I love how I just went on a rant about natural stuff and I'm over here drinking a Coke. I just wanted to point that out before someone else does. I know. Okay, so second thing that I wanted to say. Nope, I already forgot. Dang it. What was it about? It was so like.
Should I start talking and then you'll remember again?
I don't know.
I'll let you interrupt me this time.
It was like so.
We were talking about birth control. We were talking about. Okay.
I've noticed a huge pattern, and I feel like this is obvious, but I feel like it isn't to a lot of people though. But it's like how society creates problems
to solve, so that they can be solved by somewhere to make money.
Well, that, but also how they create problems and then they create solutions, but the solutions are not good for us. Like, for example, let's say like the things that you eat or, you know, radiation, that's a huge factor of like acne. I literally went to Ulta Beauty and I was talking to this woman and I was like, yeah, well, I just heard on like, I was like, okay, acne. And she was like, yeah, acne. And what we were talking about acne, obviously. And excuse me,
please cover it.
I'm sorry. And I was like, I've heard that like what you eat has a huge impact on like acne.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Marks. And she was like, no, that's not true. Like it's all about the products that you use. And I was like, so you're telling me what I'm putting on my skin and what I'm putting inside of me has no impact of my skin. And it's like, I've realized like we create problems like, okay, so obviously they figured out that if they put all these, you know, chemicals and stuff in food, and if there's radiation and all this and pollution and all this stuff that, you know, that there's acne, but then they create a solution like birth control and like creams and all of these other things. And there's like a constant pattern of like creating a problem. Like, for example,
like making you feel self-conscious about your skin.
Yes, like making our periods a problem, so that way they can give us the solution of getting on birth control when we're not. That's not normal.
Or
for
all
our
the different
bodies.
products and medications and things and apps and everything to monetize something that is literally been going on for forever.
And it's so crazy to be at a level where you're thinking about the fact that so many of our problems. Okay, I don't know if it's just me, but when I first got on my spiritual journey, before I got on my spiritual journey, I was like, oh yeah, like having acne is completely normal. Like having terrible acne and having all of these problems and stomach issues and my period not being on a normal track, like all this stuff is normal as a woman. It's not though. Like if we were living like an actual like lifestyle without a lot of the harmful things that we have in our society, we would not be dealing with these issues. And I feel like it's crazy to think about that in a way. Yeah.
Wow.
What?
Oh, I just like realized that I bought into a whole lot of different stuff, and it's like
downloads?
No, I'm saying like a lot of the programming that you're talking about, like I've lived it, but it's like you have the opportunity to say,
Right.
whoa, I'm being lied to about this, that, and the other. That's not the way things are supposed to be.
That's what I'm saying. It's like we
And-
normalize so many of these things that are not natural for our human cycles, and they aren't good for our bodies at all. Like there's been so many times where I'm just like, oh yeah, this is completely normal. So many things, just like even, you know, like abortion, like so many things that we are perceiving as normal
Just say it
are
loud enough.
not normal. And not even like normal as in like you're a freak if you do that. Like that's what I'm talking about. Like I'm not trying to bully anyone. I'm just saying like normal as in the way that life was meant to be.
Mhm.
Like life has a structure of, I strongly believe that life has a layout of how it's supposed to look. I like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there is a layout of how, you know, women and men were made, and how, you know, certain things were made that are good for our body and that aren't good for us, or whatever it is. And we've just like,
Mhm.
I don't really remember. I was
We've kind of
going with that,
no. You're making total sense. You're saying like we fought against a lot of things, and I guess like while I look super deep in thought is like there's this perception that means dressing a certain way, eating a certain way, and doing certain things like soft walking and stuff on your period. But it's like
yeah.
I'm
used
the
to
type
think-
of person that like even though I'm working like this, I was in the military and like wearing uniforms, and sometimes she can even attest I'm like wearing a suit in my crystal shop because I like to do that. And actually on my period I like to eat like a lot of red meat, like steak, and my favorite workout to do is weightlifting. Like I just want to get in
Really?
there and just it's that or like beat somebody up. So I
love
just like it's an
that.
aggression kind of thing.
And
But
that's-
mostly I like to work out through like doing hiking and stuff like that because I just don't
Right.
really like gyms and necessarily, but like my
And I
period, I'm just like I
also-
want to just pump iron. That's
I
my
also
thing.
like the whole idea of like cardio on your period, just because like you're flowing with your blood, and I feel like those kind of things help you flow. You know what I
I'm just
mean?
backward. I'm programmed different.
But it's
that's
like,
cool
no, but
though.
that's
Like everybody's different.
See, and that's the beauty of it. It's like we have so many things that it's like, oh yeah, like, you know, majority of men are like this, majority of women are like this. But it's so, I feel like it's so beautiful how even though there's 4 cycles, and you know, people believe that there's certain ways to do things or certain things to eat or certain things to work out on those cycles, it's really cool that you actually feel the opposite. Like I think that it's really cool because I feel like there are a lot of women out there that also, it's kind of like how I have this app, and it's basically, it's been doing that. It's like the wind. Okay, keep talking. I already forgot what I was gonna say.
You have an app?
Yeah, so like there's like 4 different like based on when you get your period every month, you're like a different type of, you know, like witch on that app. So
Oh
like
my
there's like the
gosh.
pink witch, purple witch, like all this kind of stuff. And it just it's reminding me of like
it sounds gimmicky.
and
Go
it's
on.
like reminding me of like how like we're different. Like we're different in the ways that we operate like during our cycles. And it's like even though, you know, like I definitely believe like what I said about how things are like during your moon cycle, I feel like everyone has like a different, you know, perception of what would be best for them. So I don't think that's like the right way. I just think that for me that resonates a lot because my body is achy. I don't feel energetic at all when I'm on a period. Like I just feel like I want to go to sleep and be Sleeping Beauty and sleep for like 5 days straight. And then honestly, maybe it's just because you're a redhead. Like I feel like that was just
it's
it
a
for
ginger superpower.
I think it's like a ginger
Love that.
issue. Like you're just
issue.
always,
Do we have an issue?
like you're always angry, always eating animals, always like weightlifting. Like that just sounds like a very like redhead thing to me. You know what I mean?
Military chick.
That's
Being all
probably
like
what it is.
all stereotypical. But oh my goodness, I think I walked by some incense out there and it got me. You just brought up something, and I do want to we'll wrap up this one and then start another stream because we're going to talk about simulation theory and it's like totally different things.
Oh yeah.
So I do want to do that, but I do want to say, I don't know if you recall, it was like episode 1 or 2 and we were talking about the cycles of history. And you just kind of put that together, how you were saying like with your period, or during like the whole cycle is 4 different sections and things like that. I guess like I kind of didn't think about it like that until you said it, but that also ties into how different events and thought patterns happen seasonally, which is called like the fourth turning, the book I was telling you about, and political things, and all this happens. So it's like the world has its period, it's different cycles.
Right.
Like that's cray.
It is.
I think we're about to start our period. The world's about to start its period. It's super PMSing.
Really?
That's what it is. Yeah, because we're at the cusp of like the fourth turning, where it goes from winter. Remember I was telling you about
and then
the 4
to
different
summer,
seasons?
Like
Okay, so I'll just say that real quick on this. Okay, there are certain times in human history, and it's about an 80-year cycle, where we go through basically what's represented by seasons. Right now, we're in the fourth turning of that, where wars popping off, economic problems, all this kind of social unrest and riots and all these things like that. So if you're looking at like the wheel of the year or 4 seasons, we're at winter, and it's going to get darkest before the dawn. As always, things have to, as a phoenix, die off to be reborn and stuff like that. And now we're talking about periods, and it all just kind of makes sense. That's why I say paganism, because it's like you're observing all the natural world and the things that naturally happen. And
but yeah, I feel
I would just try to flow with it.
I feel like a good summary: don't be ashamed of your period.
Right.
Your period's beautiful, and don't let people make you feel crappy about it or embarrassed or grossed out, and don't let people make
don't have a bad time on it because someone else told you to have a bad time on your period.
Like, honestly,
decide you're gonna have a good period.
I understand why people see it as such an inconvenient thing, but when you really start to love yourself and love your body, you should really try to learn that it's not inconvenient, and everything that your body does is for you because it loves you. So everything that the fact that your body fights for you every day, that's so beautiful.
Yeah.
Like when you really think about it, like your body is literally made to like protect you and love you and provide for you. Like that's so cool that we have like a whole support system that we don't even ever really show gratitude to. We're always kind of beating down on it. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And then the times that we do love our body, it's just when it's convenient for us. You know what I mean?
Like, oh, I
know
look
what I mean?
good in this outfit just the way I want it to. And it's like we just relegate loving our bodies
but then other
just
times
to specific times instead of like, oh, no, thank you.
So also be thankful for your body and show your body some love, because there's a lot of really great things for you.
Yes. And also just to wrap it up too, we're not like, since we're not doctors and stuff like that, we're just speaking of what we know with birth control and hormones and stuff like that, but there are like so many people out there that are breaking down hormonal birth control, screwing you up.
Right.
So there's so much other people that are actually qualified on YouTube and internet and such that are really exposing and educating in ways that, I mean, there's so much to it. Did you even know? I know we said I would wrap up, but I lied. That from the hormonal birth control getting into our water supply, that's screwing people up too, because it's already in the water, and then men are drinking it too, and children, and it's not good.
That's why the water bottle that I have has that filter, because it filters out everything. And people look at me crazy every time that I'm like, I don't drink water from the tap, not because it's gross, but because fluoride and this and that. And they're like, that stuff's normal, it's good for you. It's like, you really, but it's funny though, because then as soon as I get a filter, I feel more hydrated than ever. But before, also there's another theory, this is random, but there's a theory that we're not actually supposed to drink as much water as they say that we are. Like, we don't actually need as much water as we think we do throughout the day. Like, you don't need to be drinking 4 or 8 glasses a day. Like you're fine.
Like, you're not a machine where you have to I have to put a certain amount of oil in my car, but a certain amount of water in my body depends on what I'm doing that day.
And it's also about your intuition. Like, I feel like, for
listening
example,
to your body.
Yes, for example, how we always talk about how, I have this theory that maybe humans are more complex than we think. Like, maybe we, even though we're the same, like women and men, maybe we are each like literally different. And so I'm just thinking about the fact that, like, what were we talking about again?
You said you have a theory that everybody's different, which is pretty proven reality, yeah.
But before
men and women.
I like forgot, but it was so important. I keep forgetting. I'm
Take a
sorry.
breath. Men and women are inherently different, is what you said.
I know, but the thing before that. She's like, I wasn't listening.
No, I was listening. We were just talking about loving our bodies and hormones.
Yeah, I
and
literally forgot, but
that's
whatever.
cool. That's cool. I think we've said a lot of good. We made a lot of good points, and I hope it at least has opened like some people's mind about you don't have to feel like crap just because your body's doing stuff to protect you. You find it?
Yeah, I
Go
was just gonna say, like, if you like how some people need like 5 hours of sleep a night and then some people need like 8 or
That's what we're
10.
saying.
Yeah, like that's what I was gonna say. It's like however much water you feel like intuitive, like that you need to drink, like
Mhm.
drink as much as you feel like you need to.
Mhm.
But for real though, like
But you also have to listen to your body of when you're hydrated, when you're not, because we're inserting all these other factors that we're not listening to our bodies too. So
right. And we always blame it on like things that are actually not the problem. Like for example, like being like tired and all this stuff is like a lot of it is tied to gut health, but people just want to tell you you're lazy. Like no, your gut could actually be making you feel like you don't want to do anything. Also look into gut health. This is random, but if you're watching this video, watch videos on gut health because gut health is so important.
yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. That is so true. Yeah.
Go drink cranberry juice.
And actually from a doctor, a mental health professional, was talking to me recently about the improvement in her psychiatric patients when they just switch up their diet. And she gut health, like she was telling over and over. And then I know other people who have done, which I'm not sure about it. I haven't done it myself, so
Like
I
the
can't
juice
advocate for it. Well, I was
cleanses?
going to say that blood type diet, where it's like you eat for your
Oh.
blood type. Like
That
there
sounds so
are
good.
natural, I hate saying like natural holistic healing, but no, there are things that you
That's all
can, there are things that you can do that have less side effects, that more work with your body versus making someone money in a pharmaceutical industry. I hope, please don't take this off YouTube.
Yeah.
So, okay. All right.
Well, I feel like that
We're
was everything.
That's never everything.
But okay.
It's all about periods, though. Okay. 1, 2, 3 periods. 1, 2, 3 periods. All right.
Oh, was I supposed to say periods?
Thanks for tuning in
My
to
bad.
Perception and Perspective
Bye.
with Jessica and Olivia. Bye.
Have a great night.
Have a great period.
Have a great period.